It's like going to a really good yoga class and you're like, I got to tell all my friends about this. Or seeing a great movie. I can't wait to tell my friends about this. All right, here we are, another week, another episode of The Word Made Fresh, only this one's a solo episode. Hi, everybody, just you and me hanging out. We have a guest preacher this Sunday, Reverend Dr. Andrea White. She is a professor over at Union Theological Seminary. What's her official title? Associate Professor of Theology and Culture. She's also the theologian-in-residence here at Riverside. She's a member of the church. She offers her theological expertise. She's led open Bible study classes and incredible courses. And this Sunday, she's in the pulpit. She has been in the pulpit before. You've probably heard her preach. Go back on YouTube and scroll through the sermons and you can find lots of great sermons from Dr. White. This Sunday will be no different. Another great sermon, period. Another great sermon from Dr. White. Exclamation mark. All right, so here's a little info to get you warmed up for Sunday. We're in the book of John still. That's a thing we're going to say every single week. We're in John all the way through Easter, and Easter is still a couple months out. We're in John chapter 4. This is Jesus and the woman of Samaria. Now, Samaria, Samaritan, that is the location. So this is Jesus leaving the kind of neighborhood that is comfortable, familiar, and going to a marginalized space. So there's a lot going on about Jews and Samaritans. Think about the story of the Good Samaritan, for an example, helping someone you're conditioned to be opposed to and hate and have an implicit bias against. So that's a Samaritan, Samaria. That's the context where Jesus is. It's also worth pointing out this is kind of the third major character that's encountering Jesus. We've had John, his cousin, John the proclaimer. He's not really a baptizer in this story. He just proclaims about Jesus being the Lamb of God. But John was one. Then last week was Nicodemus. He's a Pharisee, one of the rulers of the temple space, one of the religious leaders. So we have this rogue, agent John. We have this religious leader Nicodemus, and now we get this Samaritan woman. Does she have a name? No, I think she's just a Samaritan woman, which says something right there. This unnamed Samaritan woman. And that's where we find ourselves in this story in John chapter 4. So a lot going on here. Jesus is thirsty. He stops by a well. He asks a woman for a drink. She's like, sure. There's a whole thing. There's the question of why is she coming at this time of the day? Why is Jesus there? She's had a bunch of husbands. There's a whole family history going on. It's worth the read. You'll hear more about that in the sermon. You'll hear about it in open Bible study. So just join us in all those places. Dr. White's sermon is called, I think there's two titles I saw, Dancing with Jesus, or God's Transgressive Border Crossing. So that's a glimpse of where Dr. White's taking this sermon, Dancing with Jesus. I think we see a little bit of a dialogical dance going on in this text, in the conversation between Jesus and this unnamed Samaritan woman. Let's continue to point out she's unnamed, because if we just call her the Samaritan woman, we gloss over the fact that she's not named, but she's a very significant figure in this story and in this trajectory of Jesus in John. Or title number 2, God's Transgressive Border Crossing. What border do we see being crossed in this story? And how does that invite us to think about the borders we are called to cross in our world as well? How are we transgressing borders? That brings up so much. So one more thing to let us know about this coming Sunday. We always have a question that we ask you in worship. I'm going to share it here. Why not give you a sneak peek? Because it's just you and me. No one's listening in. Well, you're listening in. My boss isn't listening in, unless Adrian watches this video. Hi, Adrian. All right, the question for this coming Sunday is, when do you behold the face of God? So you can think about that now. Save your answer. Maybe jot it down, put it in your notes app, and you're going to drop it into the live chat on Sunday for worship, for those of us online. But we got a lot of good stuff coming this coming Sunday, as always. So open Bible study happens first, worship happens second, and then virtual coffee happens afterwards. We'll have space together. It's going to be a great, great time. Well, we'll get to dive into this and talk more about what this means. So let's talk about one more interesting thing from this text, because I can't leave you with just an overview and announcements. I got to at least dig something out. So let's take a quick look. Okay, 2 things, because why not? Number 1, there's this line in here about the woman, the unnamed woman, is like, when the Messiah comes, he will do this, that, and the other thing. So they had this mentality of waiting for this anointed one. Messiah, Christ, means anointed one. And Jesus clearly says to her, I am he. So this is one of the most overt calls to that we'll ever see, especially in the Gospel of John. And Jesus just claims the title right there, John chapter 4. He is just saying, that's my flag, let's go. It's interesting he says this in Samaria. He's not really saying this quite as boldly in Jerusalem, where the Jews are, and there's a lot to that as well. So that's thing number one, just noting Jesus kind of making that bold statement. And thing number two, at the end, there's this line here, many Samaritans from that city believed in him because of the woman's testimony. He told me everything I have ever done. So that's the woman's testimony. She believes in him. Why? Because apparently he knew her whole life's history. He could just tell her everything she'd done, which we could read into a lot into that. But I think two things about this. One, what is the encounter you've had with Jesus, with God? What impact has that had on your life and your understanding? And then who are you sharing that with? Who are you telling that good news to? We often think evangelism has to be this, teaching people the right formula, this, that, and the other thing. Evangelism is not a scary word for mainline Christians and liberals and people like us. It's just telling the story of God in our life. That's all it is. Here's how I've encountered Christ. Maybe you can do the same. Want to have a similar experience? It's like going to a really good yoga class and you're like, I got to tell all my friends about this. Or seeing a great movie. I can't wait to tell my friends about this. Could it be that encountering the divine, the sacred, should have a similar implicit result? I just can't wait to tell people about the way I encountered. Why do we make it this? Gotta tell you to believe this so that you can go here and have that happen. Or invite people to church, twist their arm. It should just be as easy and exciting as telling people about your favorite movie or your favorite whatever you encountered, favorite recipe, favorite hobby. It's this thing that's made an impact in your life. And when you share that impact with others, people might want to lean in and experience it too. Interesting model for how we are called to participate in spreading this good news of the love of God. Okay, that's all for me. You know the drill. Looking forward to seeing you Sunday. And we'll be back next week with our preacher, Reverend Thorne. I know that because we just recorded that conversation, so you'll see me wearing the same sweater 2 weeks in a row. But I'll see you on Sunday. Bye, everybody.